Have you heard of a little thing called Discord? Well, if you haven't, let me inform you. Discord is an amazing app where you can interact with gaming communities and content creators such as myself more directly. It's an app that is just great for community building. I'm one of the owners of a Kingdom Hearts Discord server called The Union. We've been growing rapidly lately and are a little over halfway to 1,000 members. Thank you guys for that. If you don't have an account, it takes like less than a minute to make one, so create an account and join the Union Discord server today to get a chance to talk to some of the members of the community and its creators as well. I really look forward to seeing you guys there. Now let's get on with the video. Kingdom Hearts 3 was a fresh start for the Kingdom Hearts series, in a weird way. Like, the series was never in a rut per se before it, but what I mean is we went 13 plus years without a number title, which are viewed by both Square Enix and the fans of the series as the big culmination projects of whatever happened previously. In between that time, there was so much build up leading towards Kingdom Hearts 3 that fans were wondering, is it ever going to end? Luckily, surprisingly, it finally did on January 25th of 2019. Kingdom Hearts 3 had finally come out and everybody was happy. Well, at least most people. I really don't want to get into that debate right now. But Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and it was such a magical experience. But one of the biggest differences between Kingdom Hearts 3 and other Kingdom Hearts games is that Kingdom Hearts 3 was a lot more Disney than other Kingdom Hearts games, which a lot of us expected, but it still managed to be even more Disney than we expected. We were prepared for this going into the game though, because with the way Kingdom Hearts 3 marketing was going, they were choosing a lot more Pixar and recent Disney movies, specifically of the 3D animated side of things, which was a very good tactic and a very good thing because it brought a lot of the newer and more popular Disney IPs into Kingdom Hearts, and most of them worked amazingly in Kingdom Hearts. Most of them except one world called Arendelle. Now, me personally, I enjoyed Arendelle for gameplay reasons. I just like snow levels in video games, what can I say? And I love the marshmallow fight in Ice Labyrinth, and I really loved the final boss in the world, but I admit that the world was very lackluster compared to what it could have been, especially on the story side of things, the cutscene side of things. We were assuming that Disney meddling was the reason for this, and we were right. Just read this. When Nomura is asked about the guidelines he had to follow for select Disney worlds, he says that Frozen had the most, which really does suck because it was the Disney World I was looking the most forward to. You can tell this mostly through cutscenes. They completely shafted songs like Do You Want to Build a Snowman and the main villain of the story of Frozen and Hans. Like, you barely even get to see him in the world. Now, Kingdom Hearts games aren't always the best at replicating stories in their games. A lot of the time the story is half and half between the Disney story and the Kingdom Hearts story. It's a straight up replication of the story, whether it's good or bad, or it doesn't follow the story at all. I feel like select worlds like Aladdin in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Tangled in Kingdom Hearts 3 have done really well with the retelling side of things, but on the other hand, you have a lot of Disney worlds that have done really bad with telling the story of the select Disney movie in the BBS worlds and Tarzan, for example. With that in mind though, because I know you guys are going to bring it up in the comments, I completely disagree with the argument that Kingdom Hearts 3 is the only game that punishes you for not watching these Disney movies, because to be honest, most games in the Kingdom Hearts series have. A lot of people didn't have problems with it though beforehand because a lot of the movies Kingdom Hearts has used in their games were all really old movies from like the 80s, 90s, even older sometimes, or early 2000s. So I think it's very unfair to even put the blame on Kingdom Hearts 3 solely for that, because I feel like a lot of people haven't watched the newer movies as fast as they've watched the older movies, because of course there's a big time difference between that. But that's my thoughts on that. I might make another video on it if you so want. But regardless though, most of the time, regardless of what's going on in a Kingdom Hearts game regarding the Disney story, whether it's being replicated or as an original story, most of the time, it isn't anything to write home about. The Disney worlds are simply there just for you to experience the characters, and you more so like the Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts not because you want to see a retelling of the Disney story, but more so because you want to see Sora interact with the Disney characters, see how those characters meld, see those characters in a new situation, a new light. You can imagine that it will be pretty difficult to completely replicate the story while also adding your own unique elements in there. It's definitely a challenge, so I don't blame Square Enix for not replicating the Disney movies perfectly. But regardless of that, I completely have to agree that when it comes to retelling via cutscenes or even just original stories, I don't think many worlds in Kingdom Hearts have been as bad as Frozen. You get a little bit of interaction with Elsa in the beginning of the world, and you get to talk to Anna and the gang for one cutscene, then you have the Let It Go song, but that's it. Everything else is pretty much Sora just going up and down the mountain. They did do really well with Let It Go. I was jamming along to the song, honestly, and I feel like they did the ending of the Frozen movie and Kingdom Hearts 3 really well also. A very popular channel in Game Theory made a video about this, talking about how Nomura likely had way bigger plans for Frozen, but ultimately, due to the guidelines he had to follow, he was very limited in what he was able to do. Game Theory used context clues from the game itself, from the world itself, as backing for this, and I agree with the video heavily. That is all that I'm going to ramble about with Frozen though and explain. Now that you have the backstory to all this concern, you can better understand my worries when I say I am terrified for future Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts. Very few, but still some fans want to get rid of Disney worlds from the entire series and think Kingdom Hearts should go all original and Square Enix worlds, but I neither think that will happen or even should, because that would literally kill the entire series. Taking away Disney from Kingdom Hearts is like taking away the support beam from a building that's being constructed. Break it down and you're left with a total mess. But that's a future video. They're never going to get rid of Disney because Disney partially owns Kingdom Hearts. I'm worried about future Disney worlds because if they were so restrictive on Frozen, imagine what could happen to another extremely successful movie like Moana or Zootopia, or a Toy Story 4, which is inevitable to be a huge success. Those are some of Disney's most recent animated successes, and I'm positive there would be some restrictions because of that, because they want to protect those IPs in case any future development of their sequels happened. Like, imagine Zootopia in Kingdom Hearts, and you know the segregation theme going on with that movie. Just imagine them following the movie story in Japan, because they don't see an issue with it, turning the corrupted predators into heartless or something, or unversed, like turning them to some huge darkness and making that a big boss fight. Now maybe that's like too simple of one, but something as simple as that could happen and it could be a big media story. And it sounds like something so simple at face value, and maybe the exact scenario I listed won't happen, but when you dig deeper into it and understand the themes of Zootopia and what it represents, you see the issue with things like that potentially happening, and you understand why Disney has to be so protective of something like that happening, and why a world like that being in Kingdom Hearts would probably have more thought going into it than any of the other Disney worlds, because they're going to have to work around a lot of Zootopia's themes so they don't run the risk of offending anybody, because you know the day and age we live in. It would be a huge media story in gaming, and eventually Square would likely have to censor that via patches. Disney though isn't dumb enough to let that happen or even slip through development of the game, so they would likely give Square a crap ton of guidelines before to follow, which would ultimately, depending on how many guidelines there are, make worlds like Zootopia a shell of what the movie is. And Zootopia honestly has become one of my favorite Disney movies. I only watched it for the first time last year, and that's a world I really want in Kingdom Hearts, because I think that that world at its full potential could be something just amazing. It could be humongous. It could be so freaking cool, dude. And we don't want that as Kingdom Hearts fans, a shell of what the movie is. Of course, we aren't expecting the movie experience through and through, but what Kingdom Hearts has always done at least is get somewhat close and give you a new outlook on some of these movies by adding new areas, original story elements, and allowing you to re-experience some of your favorite childhood characters because of that, and allowing them to interact with the new one of your favorite characters in Sora. As Disney gets bigger and bigger and bigger, Kingdom Hearts will too, but we don't want the originality of Kingdom Hearts to go away because of that. Because if the effort in the Disney world starts to go down, then the originality of Kingdom Hearts will as well. Like, you can't have one without the other, I feel. I feel like Disney needs to have just as important of a role in Kingdom Hearts as, like, the main characters do, because they both go hand in hand. And, like, I know I'm saying this a bunch of times, but I really feel that way. Like, I feel like a world like Frozen is a perfect example of that. Because what also happened, because you weren't able to interact with the Frozen characters as much as you wanted to, Sora, Donald, and Goofy weren't able to interact with each other as much as they wanted to. They weren't able to interact with the characters as much as they wanted to. It was really cute seeing the interactions between Sora and Olaf, but I wish we got more of that, and I wish Disney wasn't so protective and allowed us to have more of that. One of the biggest reasons people become so attached to Kingdom Hearts is because of how Nomura and Disney meld so well together. Taking away either is simply just not Kingdom Hearts anymore. Nomura had plenty of freedom with other Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3, and it especially shows in Tangled, Monsters Inc., Port Royal, and Big Hero 6, and honestly just every world that wasn't Frozen. But if Frozen was a warning of what was to come for future Disney films, then I'm really scared. Disney movies keep becoming crazy successful, and they are very protective of their newer IPs rather than their old ones. Square could easily just choose to only use older IPs for Disney, but you already know there is too much marketing potential in the newer movies for them to go that route. Now, with all that worry in mind, I do want to provide some hope that maybe this won't be the case for a lot of Disney movies in the future. Because I have a theory that maybe rather than it being the big corporate heads up at Disney, it's simply just the teams they work with regarding the IP. Because when you look at Roy Conley films, for example, who was working directly with the Kingdom Hearts team on his films, for example like Big Hero 6 and Tangled, those worlds were amazing. You didn't play through those worlds feeling any big restrictions from Disney. If anything, Kingdom Hearts completely expanded on those properties in the most beautiful way. Then you look at Frozen and you see a shell of what the movie truly is. So it's possible that it's more dependent on the team of that select movie Square is working with, because they have said throughout Kingdom Hearts 3 interviews that they worked more directly with Disney on Kingdom Hearts 3, which in most cases throughout Kingdom Hearts 3, those Disney teams still being there benefited the game. But if restricting the Square team is going to become a habit, then I fear for future Kingdom Hearts games. The Disney worlds take up a majority of these games, and it would be a shame if all turned hollow. But that's enough for me. I just wanted to make this video talking about my worries for Disney worlds and Kingdom Hearts 3 in the future, because if Disney becomes so restrictive with the Kingdom Hearts property, it's only going to hurt the series. I don't think it will ever benefit it. I really want to know what you guys think though. Leave a comment down below telling me what you think about this topic. If you enjoyed today's video, you already know what to do. Leave a like, share the video with a friend or family member, and last but not least, if you have not already and want to become a part of the union, all you have to do is hit that red little subscribe button down below. My name is Prodigy, and I will talk to you soon. Peace out.